it is reasonable to base decisions on and to follow what their leader currently promises and supports. This in turn will allow the follower to feel confident in and believe what their leader says and what they will do, concerned with your character rather than reputation. Because your character is what you really are, while your reputation is merely what others think you are. Live with integrity, lead with integrity, then only you can inspire your followers. Then I would like to touch that great leaders build relations. Leaders cannot lead unless they understand the people they are leading. An effective leader thus must be able to build relationships and create communities. When leadership is a relationship founded on trust and confidence, this make changes, keep organizations and movements alive. Through that relationship, leaders turn their employees into leaders themselves. In both maintaining and strengthening relationships, it is important to value people for who they what a person is good at, and then fit him into that specific role so as to achieve the maximum out of his knowledge, out of his wisdom. Encourage others to take a chance, going along with them even when we don't know what the decision and outcomes will be. And having the courage to support their decisions is something you can do to help them lead. Then, great leaders are problem solvers. Problem solving is the essence of what leaders exist to do. As leaders, the goal is to minimize the occurrence of problems, which means we must be courageous. We must be resilient in our quest to create environment. Their patience to step back to the problem at hand through a broadened observation. They see around, they see beneath, they see beyond the problem itself. They see well beyond, approach problem through a lens of opportunity. So many a times you must be thinking that this is a crisis. We must look for opportunities available in the crisis, beyond the crisis. Teach and mentor, encouraging them to learn further, which he did after in 1979 or so, there was a mission failure. That time they all were very nervous. But that time the director of the mission asked them, please all come for the press conference. So everybody thought what to do now because we have a failure. But then he went there, he asked all of them to sit back and he took the lead. He said, this failure is of mine. As a leader, he accepted the failure and took it upon himself. But then Professor Kalam says, next year they again succeeded in around 8 to 9 months. They repeated and they successfully launched the SLV. Then he called Professor Kalam and told him, please go and do a press conference. Now all success is yours. So this is the quality of a leader, that your all failures are mine, all successes are of team. Then only you can inspire them, you can instill confidence in them, and that's what I was when reading about the numbers, that this thing came to my mind and I come through it. A big part of your own leadership development is determining what sort of a leader you want to be. The transformational leadership style is often considered among the most desirable by employees. The hallmarks of transformational leadership are their ability to inspire staff through effective communication and creating an environment of intellectual stimulation. These are the two important things for the transformational leadership. I hope that you imbibe these qualities, learn them, develop them, begin to think and act like a leader. Remember, a leader is not confined by titles, positions, or designations. You can choose to be leader today. Whether you have position or not, you lead when you use what you say and do to influence the behavior and performance of others. You can be situational leader, as Rao Saab has said about COVID. During COVID time, you must have seen many paramedics leading from front when all the doctors were not in the scene, they lacked the scene. There were many ambulance drivers who took this leadership role that I have to save my own people. So you see the situation, embark upon that leadership role from within yourself, and then you will get the satisfaction which will never come when you go through a textbook leadership. Be an emergent leader first and assign leader later. Having said, the path to your leadership will be full of obstacles and challenges. The continuously evolving global business environment has impacted both our personal and professional lives profoundly. In such uncertain times, leadership matters even more. So I would like to touch now upon few challenges which this 21st century leadership teams comprising of you all will face and is facing in these times. The biggest challenge which you all must be facing nowadays and you have seen in the few years before also is the geopolitical volatility. Geopolitical factors can cause sudden but destructive damages to the organizations. Unstable geopolitical environments can chase away capital investments, drain financial assets, and sometimes may even lead to shutting down of the businesses. So the challenge, these challenges a leader has to encounter and then think of coming out of these challenges. Then comes the technological disruptions. As we have touched upon earlier also, by Rafsa, the technological disruptions have impacted organizations in almost all industries and sectors, starting from healthcare to manufacturing to computing. Data mining firms are building database of human DNA to evolve the science of personal identification. 3D printers are being used to print building materials, everyday products, entire houses, and artificial human organs. And the combination of cloud computing and artificial intelligence has magnified the scope of data driven decision making. So, this new quality of leaders has emerged in this 21st century, that how to be a digital leader also. And linked to these technological disruptions is the emergence of entrepreneurship and startups. Startups are nimble, agile, and have the ability to significantly disrupt large business models through new ways of creating and selling products. All these changes have significant impact on the business and operating models of organizations and the way consumers need to be served in today's and tomorrow's markets. Then comes the economic and political uncertainty. When organizations filter down geopolitical risks at an individual country level, they have to deal with economic and political uncertainty. Any organization, regardless of size, prefers to operate in a stable economic and political environment. Country environments characterized by frequent labor strikes, social unrest, and chaos can have severe detrimental impacts on revenues, profits, and investments. One of the more important aspect which we are seeing in these days, which is a very fast changing environment, is the shifting demographics. There have been major demographic changes occurring on a global scale, which include changing family structures, where increase of dual income and single parent families, aging populations requiring more healthcare and welfare services, and increase in labor diversity. These shifts in demographics makeups mean that the demand for a product or services is subjected to numerous and continuous fluctuations. It also means that there is a constant pressure on a company's portfolio of products to remain relevant. For leadership teams, this is a challenge in terms of creating forecasts for growth or for mapping out a sustainable growth strategy. Now, how to overcome all these and many more challenges which this new generation of leadership will face? And what are the implications of these challenges? So, as I see these young faces today, I imagine that when you assume position of leadership in the coming year, you will have to lead in these turbulent times. The above mentioned challenges warrant that this next generation leadership, that is all of you, to take a different approach in this 21st century when it comes to managing and growing the organizations. Some of the things which I feel you should think of is having a balanced short-term and long-term lens. Organizations are always under constant pressure to showcase short-term business wins over long-term strategies. The need to report quarterly earnings and profit to appease shareholders and financial analysts require organizations to adopt a short-term lens. But long-term strategies which require commitment of organizational resources and deep thinking are critical for success in the long run in today's times. The constant tug of war between short-term and long-term objectives creates uncertainty and increases risk when it comes to capital expenditures and resource allocation decisions. The new leaders will need to strike a balance between satisfying stakeholders' expectations via short-term gains and long-term priorities that would grow and strengthen the company's image, brand, and growth. Then comes the resilience. Resilience is going to be the cornerstone of leadership success in boardrooms in the coming time. The characteristics of today's time requires resilience on all fronts. Rapidly changing consumer demand patterns, ever increasing pace of technology-induced disruption, increasing fragmentation of markets, rapid shift of economic growth potential, increasing fluid labor market, and low cost of entry barriers into market are factors that require resilience to manage. To be able to deliver on both short-term and long-term organizational objectives, leadership teams need to be focused on core components of the strategy and relentlessly deliver against these parameters. This requires the new leaders to be resilient in the face of negative forces, which in all likelihood will be present in some form or the other. Even if you look that I can just give you an example from the recent war of Ukraine and Russia. So far, there was a difficulty and people were not finding it easy to do business with Russia. But suddenly, an opportunity has come for India to start the business dialogue with Russia at a much cheaper price which we would have done in the normal times. So this resilience and the flexibility to adapt to immediately arising opportunity amongst the troubled times, the leader's role plays an important role where he can just adapt to these new realities and make his teams regroup and rearrange themselves to look for these new opportunities so that in the competition they are ahead to achieve the targets which they probably might have thought in few years and maybe those can be achieved in few months. Then you can have horizontal outlook with respect to teams. This refers to rallying teams and generating motivation to support and achieve a common goal, whereas in the vertical leadership style, which is the directly opposite like military style, the effective leadership mostly evolves, and nowadays it is coming that the horizontal leadership is more preferred because it helps in inspiring people and taking upon the challenges themselves in the form of teams. One of the aspects which you can think of is the global perspectives and local insights. We now live in a world that is increasingly globalized but awakening to nationalistic pride. We have seen the many countries there is some national awakening which has happened, and people now want that more and more local products to be made. There in India also we are seeing such things. In such situations, a top leader assessment, a top level assessment of company operating models will reveal the fact that local country entities have a stronger role to play when it comes to global organization. Consequently, when it comes to leadership, it is imperative to balance global perspectives with local nuances. The impact of effective leadership can only be sustained when it influences at an individual level. In the end, to summarize, please always remember that leadership is a continuum, and your job is to ensure someone will be there to follow you as you followed in the footsteps of today's leaders. Remember, wherever you see a successful business, someone once made a courageous decision. Choose strong. You should carry forward to achieve goals because unless you are inspired to something higher than present capability, if I believe that I can do something, try to achieve the ability to do that. Look upon the leaders who are at the same time develop from within yourself, top of it, decision making, integrity, all these are the
memorial trust.
A very good afternoon to all of you. It's a privilege and honor for me to be here today to offer this vote of thanks and a sincere gratitude to all of you for your presence here this morning with us to have this wonderful interaction on leadership lecture and lecture series that we are planning to have every year in this university. Thank you for being here with us. Last year, after Mr. Arkarata passed away, we were debating about to do something in honor of this great leader. And then in one such discussion I had along with my friend Manoj Jain, we decided that we should initiate a leadership lecture series if you will be useful. And thank you, sir, for agreeing to this. And thanks to the Center for Management Studies, Diruga University, for taking the initiative to host this. So that's where we are, and that's where this first leadership function has started today. Going forward, let me first thank my dear friend, Mr. Manoj Jain, Chairman and Managing Director of GAIL India Limited. I know he is, first of all, let me thank him for promptly agreeing to come over here, all the way from Delhi, and to deliver this inaugural lecture series lecture on leadership. Thank you, sir. I know you are extremely busy today because of, as it is, you are busy managing a company of $11 billion. And then, of course, in having assets all over the country, from gas processing to petrochemicals and things like that. And of course, the recent announcement of being one of the highest dividend in the country today. So thank you very much for being with us, and your speech today, inspiring with speech particularly on leadership qualities and of course challenges that's going to come up will definitely inspire and of course will be noted by all the students here today who are here with us. Thank you very much for being with us. Let me thank Mr. M.S. Rao, one of the brilliant as civil servants and administrators, and product of IIT Mumbai and MBA from United Kingdom. He is besides being I have a leader and all, he is also personally close to Mr. Dutta as well as to me. Thank you, Mr. Rao, for being with us today. Thanks for your inspiring speech. And you can understand that he has also come all the way from Shillong to be here with us. And incidentally, Mr. Rao was here on probation and we were way back. And I said, great. So thank you very much, sir, for being here with us. I would like to thank Mr. Lal, of course, for allowing us to host it and I would like to thank Professor Ranjit University to carry on this event, entire faculty of Center for Management Studies as well as students for taking it forward. Last couple of months we had a lot of planning and to finalize these dates because we are not able to get the dates. My thanks to my colleagues from Maligar, Managing Director Maligar Bhaskar Bata, Managing Director PCPL Refajarita, and Managing Director Sangas Company, Sargari, my colleagues from Oil India, Oil UC, Maligar, Assam Gas, and others, my colleagues from my friends from the media, and of course, all of senior citizens that I see there from the media. Thank you very much for being here with us today. Last, let me once again thank the media also for covering this. This event is probably getting covered live now on YouTube channels. And we have a number of people who are viewing this here. Oh, my special thanks to the Deputy Commissioner, I didn't see, sorry. Special thanks to Deputy Commissioner, Mr. Vishnu to be here with us. With this, let me conclude this event today by thanking all of you once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. So, thank you so much. And with this, we come to the end of good video.